Alrighty, I've got my entire area cleaned up. Well, mostly. These are a new pencil I just got thanks to my friend, artist friend, Julie McFarland, who introduced me to them. Carbathello by Stabillo. They are chalk pastel pencils, and they are aquarellable, meaning you can get them wet. I'm not getting them wet in this application. I'll do that on some other video. But this is what I got. There's 60 of them. Beautiful colors. So I got them at Dick Blick. Here's some of the colors. And then here are the others. So I just have them on each side here, and I'll grab what I need. The other thing to know about them is you have to sharpen them with a little manual sharpener like this. The power sharpener that I have, I love this one, but there are many others out there. The X-Acto sharpener. I use that for my colored pencils. It's the only thing I've found that really gets a nice sharp point and doesn't chew up the wood. But these guys, you will destroy the fragile pastel pencil if you do that. So that's not an option. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to start by just adding in a little more detail into the birds. So I decided he needed a few more wispies. So I'm gonna add some detail into him. Mr. Bluebird. I think a little bit of a kind of maybe tousled feathers might be cute. And then, see, I don't have a super sharp point on this. Of course, I could put one on it. So I'm just kind of pulling. There's a little bit of a wax bloom from when I used the colored pencils, and it's not all wanting to adhere very well. I may need, if I want to add more, I may need to drop my kneaded eraser. I may need to spray this with a fixative, a workable fix, and then we'll let it dry. I always let it dry about an hour and then come back in, and I may do that yet. Here's the fixative that I'm talking about. So, of course, I'll use the fix on it when I'm done. Now, there are artists who say, well, I don't like the fix because it's going to change the color. I personally have not found that to be a large problem. I'm not really liking some of this right here. It seems blotchy from my view. Let's see if I can. Nice thing about multimedia though is you can come in and, let's see, that's a little, not the right blue. It's a little darker, kind of like that. Sharpening off screen here. A little more. Ah! Broke my tip. Yeah, it's just not letting me adding anything else. Those colored pencils have kind of taken up the it's not letting me add a whole lot here. That's all right. I was pretty happy with him before I started, and like I said, I can add some, there we go. I can add some, spray it with some fix and add some more if I feel like it's needing it. So it'll be all right either way. There. And one other thing I'm gonna try is a little bit of a highlight with the lighter color. There we go. Sometimes you can blend with a lighter color and it looks good too. This is just not, oh, there we go. There, we're getting a little bit, I like that, I like that. Let me see if I can do that on the other wing over here. You can see it's taken off some of the color, the darker color. Okay, put a bit of this in his tail. There, kind of like that. Now I'm gonna clean this off so when I grab it again, I'm not fooled. Just basically drawing on another piece of paper to get the dark blue off that pencil. Okay, actually I'm pretty happy with the other two guys here. I'm not sure they really need anything else. I think it's not taking it anyway, so I'm pretty happy with them. They're just taking a tiny bit there and adding a little brightness. Just trying to get a few like feather marks here and there. So, but there we go. Alrighty. Okay, now I'm gonna get into my greens over here. This is too much of a teal green. That's not gonna work. Let me get over here. The greens that match the greens that I was using earlier. And there, that's gonna work. And maybe a pale yellow. And I don't know, I think again, these two greens are more that bright green that I rejected earlier, so I'm not gonna use those. So what I have here is I'm gonna move this paper because I sharpened that pencil and it now has dust on it that I might smear across the page. Don't want that to happen. All right, I have a clean paper towel here, cleanish, that I will lay down so if my hand needs to rest, I can do that. So what we're gonna do now is quick sharpen, and then I'm just gonna come in and add a little bit of texture, a little bit of extra interest to some of these leaves. Here, I'll start down here. See how these pencils will let me kind of come in and add some detail. Brightness here and there. I didn't need to rest my hand when I was doing the pastels because I had a long tool. This, I'm kind of feeling like I want to rest my hand somewhere. So on that bird, both birds there that I was working on, I talked about the colored pencil bloom. That's the wax, and it builds up. And the tooth of the paper eventually is just not gonna take anymore. It's kind of like if you've got a washcloth with water, it's just totally saturated. It's just not gonna take anymore. And you can sometimes get a little more life to it by spraying it with a fixative, and that helps. But at some point, you're just done. So that's why I do like the pastels under the pencils, because they give me a base of color, and then I can do more detail. So that works. But you can notice I'm putting color on this with no problem whatsoever. And that's because this is just pastel. There's no, ooh, I like that. There is no wax to the pan pastels that's gonna, now it still can fill the tooth of the paper. The pastel is soft and chalky, and at some point it just wants to slough off. So you do want to be purposeful with your marks so you don't use up your ability to paint more. Where with oils or acrylics, you can dry and apply more paint. You know, with oils and acrylics too, when it's wet and you're trying to paint, finally you get to a point where there's just so much wet paint, it's just all sliding all over the place. So you kind of got to give it some time to dry. So every medium has its challenges, and as you work in it, you learn what those challenges and advantages are. And then you figure out which medium you like the best. It can get expensive trying mediums, so if you have artist friends who work in a certain medium, or maybe there's a place to take a class where the supplies are included, that's a good way to kind of test out a medium before you invest literally hundreds of dollars. The full set of pan pastels is, I believe, $320, and then comes with a lot of these tools. I actually have not had to purchase any tools separately at this point. I do buy a lot of these little makeup sponges though. I like those. But at some point I will need to buy more of the little sponges that go on the end, because I do use those tools and they are good tools. So at some point, I'm going to sharpen this guy. He's kind of caked up. So yeah, so if you find either a friend, my friend Julie, one day she came over and we painted with acrylics. She'd never painted with acrylic or oil. And I said, well, why don't you come over, we'll paint and you can see if you like it. You know, so, and we did the same. She had the pan pastels and was telling me about them. I just bought a couple. And then that was during the pandemic and we weren't able to get together. So I just bought a couple of them to try them and loved them. And then I told her about the Derwent ink tints, and then we went and spent a few days with them in January. They have a house in Mississippi and they spend part of the year down there. And so we went in January, and her and I played with each other's art supplies. And while our husbands did projects, and she ended up buying the Derwent ink tints watercolor pencils because she loved playing with them. So it's nice if you have a friend that you can, or a co-op of where you could go and try things out. I know there's some, I live in the St. Louis area. I think it's called Green Door Gallery or something. Anyway, I might be thinking of a different place, but there's a place out in Chesterfield that you can take classes. I don't know if they all include supplies. I know their pottery class does, you know, or you go to if you go to the college, to the community college and take a class, that's a good way to take a class too. I'm kind of liking that. I think that's looking pretty good actually. I don't know if I need any of this lime green. It's kind of already in there, so I'm kind of thinking I'm needing that. Now, my plan was to add a little caterpillar somewhere, and I don't know that I have a place to put him in, so I may have to think about that some more. In the meantime, I'm going to add a little more detail into the branches. Just feels like it could use a little more color. Okay. This is just a quick little bit. Just adding in some bits. I'm gonna move these so I don't knock them off to the edge of my page there. Need these greens. I'm gonna grab a couple of these. So yeah, I'm still kind of thinking about, I've got my leaves so thick through here, so I'm not sure I can get a caterpillar. Could put him down on the branch though. But how long do you think he would survive? sitting down here. I don't think he'd last long with all those birds. Now, the cardinal probably wouldn't eat him. But Mr. Bluebird, he would definitely eat him. I know the blue jays love peanuts. I know the bluebirds love bugs. So I am quite sure that the little caterpillar would be a goner. If he was out in the open, he would definitely need to be hiding. So yeah, I don't know. Still thinking. Sometimes I have to look at a piece a few days before I make a final call. See, I told you about filling up the tooth. That does not want to go in there. You know what? There's a... I think we need a darker brown. Yeah, that ought to work. We need some shadow down in here. Like I said, you need darks and you need lights. Trying to be random yet consistent in how the branches are formed. And so just adding just enough dark that you know those branches are back in there. Felt like too much. And I think we need a little red on his comb there. It looks like the branch is on top of the bird, and that's not the case. So we're gonna do that here real quick. This should be darker. Okay. Alrighty. I'm gonna get here. I'm gonna get a light color. Where is it? That light peach and the red. I'm going to come in, take care of this problem here. Put this bird on top of the branch, not behind it. There. And then highlights. Not a lot through here because the leaves are shadowing. Also works to blend the colors when you come in with a lighter one. You can see I'm keeping this pretty loose. Okay, I think we're just about done. Getting a lot of dust on there. Could mess up that pencil's ability to do its job. See, it just gets coated with the goo. Again, just kind of knowing your medium. If you're going along and it's not doing what you think it should do, then check and see if there's a problem. So, yeah, I'm liking that a lot. more dust. And I have a big flat paintbrush, and there's times that I'll kind of use it, but it can smear where I don't want it to. So again, I sometimes find I just do that, and then sometimes it'll work to do other things. So sometimes you can blend it. Just depends on what you want it to look like. Whoops, sorry, I didn't have that right up where it needed to be. You didn't even see what I did. So yeah, that's what I've got there. I've got some areas here where the dust has smeared across there. I could come back in with a little bit of blue on this pan pastel sponge, and there's some light blue on this one. So we're just gonna take care of that. Now, this is something that is a problem. It's not a problem on this piece because it will be framed and the edge won't show. But look at this little bit down here. I've had to keep holding this so it doesn't run around because I didn't tape it down or tack it down. I probably should have tacked it down. But look at this. See this little spot here? That's where my finger repeatedly held it. And the oils from my skin caused that pan pastel to really adhere there, and it's leaving a mark. And that's why you have to be so careful when you're working that you don't rest your hand on the piece, that you don't hold it down too far in, because that will absolutely happen. That's why I was using a paper towel between my finger and the page when I was holding it. So those are just some things you learn over time. So hopefully you can learn them directly from a video from me or someone else, so we can tell you our mistakes and maybe you don't have to make them. So this is the Backyard Club. I'm really happy with it. I'm really enjoying how it looks. I'm also enjoying these pencils. So I will probably be doing a little touching up here and there, adding some color and some highlights. And so you might see some differences when you see the final piece, but that's just something I do. So I can't really promise I won't, and that I'll do everything on video, but just I might add a little color here and there. It's getting to the point though where I'm gonna have to spray it with some fixative, let it sit, and then come back in to it's a little line there. So yeah, I like this bit of purple. This is neat. I like that color. These colors aren't named. They're numbered, so I can't go, oh, this is carmine, or this is, you know, purple something. This is number, oh, they're tiny too, 1121. What's your favorite color? 1121. So that is pretty color. It's a real kind of a purplish red. So it's nice. Okay, well, I'm going to sign off for now. I am very happy with this piece so far. It's really close to being done. Like I said, I just have this desire to put something in here, but I don't know. I don't want to force it. I don't want to, you know, these leaves are all so compact and together. I'm just not sure it's really going to work to put something in there unless it is a little caterpillar on the branch, and maybe it'll be funny that he's outsmarting Mr. Bluebird a tiny bit. So, well, I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and if I do make any other adjustments or changes of any great nature, I will definitely do another video.